Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Yes. Thank you for your responses. Thank you very much. Let's stop the chat. This is only for the participants who are not in the WhatsApp group specific to this particular batch. This is only for the participants who are not in the WhatsApp group. If you are already in the WhatsApp group, you don't need to join the duplicate groups. There are approximately 10 participants can join this particular group. Okay, so I'm sending this in the chat box. If you're not part of WhatsApp group of DevOps AWS batch 79, you can join this to get the updates of the specific batch. Okay. Next. What's the plan for today's session? Identity and access management. In today's class, we'll understand what do you mean by identity and access management. Why is it very important? We'll be understanding the difference between root user and IAM user. There are two types of users, in fact, root user and IAM user. We don't know that. So we'll be knowing this. We'll be experiencing the process of creating users, creating policies, attaching policies, creating groups, attaching policies, add users to the group. So this session is all about dealing with users and groups in identity and access management. Okay. So this is our agenda for today's session. So as usual, before getting into the agenda for today's session, so let's have a quick interaction with Shaiju. Cannot hear you, Shaiju. Please check your mic settings. We cannot hear you, Shaiju. K. Rajesh.
Hello.
Yeah, Rajesh. Good morning, Rajesh. How are you doing? Can you hear me, Rajesh? I can see your hand raised. You are allowed to unmute and talk. Yes. Shaiju, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hi, Shaiju.
Yeah. So you are able to hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Sunil. Thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Thank
So,
you. How are
Sunil,
you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So I had few questions regarding like that PEM key and all. So see, multiple times what I faced while creating that instances, while downloading, I by mistakenly cancel that. So that PEM key is assigned to that particular instances, but when I try to download it again, it won't download. It says
It
it's
won't
already.
download.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
So
right.
in that case, what we can do?
The turnaround solution, what we can do is, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Shaiju,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell.
look at this. You have created an EC2 machine.
Mm-hmm.
Machine 1, let's make.
Yep.
Because of some reasons, you have now downloaded the PEM file or you have lost the PEM file, whatever it is. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
what you can do, create an AMI out of it.
Okay, got it. So
Okay, create an AMI. AMI is nothing but exactly replica of this machine. Agree?
exactly.
So that's an AMI. So once
Mm-hmm.
a customized AMI is ready, you can create a one more EC2 machine using the customized AMI. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, let's name that machine as machine 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
machine 2 is same as machine 1 only, isn't it? Because you are using the same AMI. Okay. When you're creating
Exactly.
machine 2, you will again have a scope of downloading the key pair. Okay, you can
Okay.
download it, and using that you can connect it, and you can continue with this stuff. This is no more useful. Okay.
Yeah. So, but this we are talking based on the like, I mean, okay, lab scenario. Say, suppose this is a production environment and like something happened by mistake, something happens like this. On that time, still we have to face the downtime again, right?
There is a turnaround. So there is a turnaround solution to recover the key pair. Okay. This is not. This is one approach. There is one more predefined steps of 7-step process which AWS says to recover the key pair. If
Okay.
time permits, we'll discuss that.
Okay, fine. The second question was the volume. Regarding the volume, yes, as we know, yes, we can reduce the volume from here and we can increase the volume. But
Yep, you're right.
Like say suppose one of the is we have one of the VM and we have 10 GB data in that, okay, and the 10
Yep.
GB disk.
Yes.
We are planning to reduce that, but 10
Okay.
GB data is there. So, but
Yeah,
again,
when data is there, you cannot reduce because the
yeah,
data is most priority, isn't it? So you cannot
uh,
reduce it.
okay,
When the volume is empty, well, let's say 60% of the volume is empty or
then we
80%,
can
then you can
shrink.
reduce this. But highest priority is for the data. When volume is full, there's no scope of decreasing.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. Okay.
One more question final.
Next. Yeah.
The virtual machines, like in VMware environment, when we don't have RDP or RDP issues, what we do, we get into a console view, right? We take a console view of that
You're talking
machine.
about graphical user interface.
Yes. So is there any way for those machines in instances for to get a graphical user interface?
Okay. So what most of the machines, whatever we are working is for Linux machines, isn't it? That's the reason we are connecting with Putty and all this. Okay.
Yeah.
There's one more tool called VNC Viewer. I hope you know that. So using which you can connect to the graphical user interface.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you can also do that. Okay.
No,
So
say suppose Red Hat also has GUI, right? I mean, we
yes,
can have it.
you are right.
So I'm not able. IPs
You need to install some additional terminals which is supporting the graphical user interface for the Linux machines. Okay.
and for the
Okay.
Windows, how we can?
For Windows, we can use VNC Viewer. Okay. There are different ways we can access the GUI. Okay. That's not a
Okay.
problem. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you
Okay,
so
you
much.
have
These
to
are few questions.
download and access the supporting work with the supporting terminals. That's the only thing what you have to do. Okay.
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 Good.
Anything more,
Okay.
Shaju?
No, nothing. So these were a
Okay.
few
You're
questions.
from which city?
I'm from Bangalore.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Shalini Vikram. You are allowed to unmute and have a quick discussion. K. Rajesh.
Hi, Sunil.
Hi, Rajesh. How are you doing?
Doing great. Finally, I got the chance to talk with you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm waiting for so many days to talk with you.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Yes.
What
Tell
do
me
you?
your question.
Yeah, actually, I'm working as a digital marketing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I taken a DevOps course. After that, I want to learn AWS, but I want to know this AWS course is enough for DevOps plus AWS engineer.
Yes, you are right. To say AWS is more than enough if you're planning for DevOps role. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Rajesh.
Regarding to technical,
Hmm.
when I
Are you attending right
remain,
from the beginning, the AWS?
yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Regarding to EC2, the
Mm-hmm.
question is when I creating instance in the security group, I open HTTP port. I
HTTP.
install HTTP port. I install Apache Tomcat in that server.
Okay.
So I unable to connect with the HTTP port.
Okay.
But I put all traffic port open.
Mm-hmm.
At that time I'm connecting. So I want to know what is the difference between HTTP port and all traffic.
Okay. You have to wait for VPC concepts to be clear, Rajesh. Okay.
Okay.
All about security ports and firewalls, everything we'll discuss in VPC. Okay. We are now learning
Like
identity and access management. After that, we'll discuss about VPC. We'll have more clarity, Rajesh. Okay.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. One more final interaction. Shalini.
Yeah, hi Sunil.
Good
Very good
morning.
morning.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you and congratulations for this many participants and they
Okay.
are inspiring by you.
Okay. Thank you.
And thanks for this opportunity also. And
Not just the count, not just the count. We want more success stories. That's more inspiring. Okay. So
yes,
we already
definitely.
are getting success stories. Let's go. Let's keep on. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if, actually I have one question regarding this groups. Actually,
Which
I am
groups?
I am actually my
What?
number is adding to many other groups. I don't know.
Okay.
Uh,
So first point,
yeah.
there are some other middlemen involved in this group. So from probably other institutes, or I don't know that. The disturbing is so they are calling you and they are telling you to that they will sell the videos at cheaper rate or whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
They're
fall into
sending
that. Don't fall into that. The official groups is the groups which name starts with
79 batch
yeah,
name.
79-1-2-3-4, like the total 25 groups are there. Okay. The official groups are nothing but group names starting with the AWS batch 79 hyphen. It can be any number 1, 2, 3, 10, 19, 20, or whatever. Okay. So this
Okay.
is the official group. Rest of the groups, you don't encourage them. That's not good. Okay. Don't fall into that particular trick.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Anything more, Shalini?
Yeah, nothing. It's very clear understanding.
Are you doing hands-on?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Good. How many years of experience you have?
Yeah, I have 5+ years of experience in Linux admin, and I'm planning to move for the AWS.
Okay.
I
Good.
have a basic knowledge in AWS, and so I want to
Where
move on.
did you get the basic knowledge on AWS?
Yeah, I learned from the YouTube
YouTube
channels.
channels. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now probably your exposure towards AWS is more increasing day by day.
Yes, of course. It's very close to me and friendly to me. AWS is now.
Now, okay.
Mm,
So
Thank you so much for. It's very
thank you.
understandable, and I'm also in the participant of DevOps also.
Mhm. How
A
is the
very
DevOps
good.
class yesterday?
Yeah. Yesterday it was very good and very clear. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalini.
Thank you.
So let's move on. So this is our agenda as usual. We are now getting into the next service called as IAM, stands for Identity and Access Management. Okay. Now, before getting into Identity and Access Management, okay. Look at this. Let's say this is your AWS console, AWS Management Console. How are you connecting to AWS? How are you connecting to AWS? Okay. You may have a question, Sunil. What is this question? We are regularly connecting to AWS using the URL aws.amazon.com, isn't it? And we are entering our email address and then we are entering our login password. That's how we are connecting to AWS account. Fine. There are two types of users in AWS, my dear friends. There are two types of users. We have not observed that we have a root user and we have IAM user. We have two types of users in AWS, root user and IAM user. Every day we are logging into AWS, isn't it? Every day we are logging in. But are we logging in with which type of user? Are we logging in with the root user? Or do you think are we daily logging in with the IAM user? Now let's observe now. Let's observe this. How are we logging in every day? URL aws.amazon.com. Sign in. Root user, IAM user. Here you have, I hope few of you already observed it. There's some people who will definitely not observe. You're signing in. There are two options: root user and IAM user. What is the default? By default, we are not focusing on this. We're directly entering our email address, and then we are logging in with our password. That means by default, you're logging in with root user. Root user is unrestricted access. There is no restriction. Root user, can you see this? Root user is unrestricted access. That means no restriction at all. You have full access to AWS console. Let's log in. Logging in. I logged in as root user. Observe root user. Every day we are logging in as root user. Root user is unrestricted access. You will have full access to AWS services. If AWS is providing 200 services, you can connect to any service. Whichever service you want, you can connect it and you can start working it. This is full access. Root user is unrestricted access. In other words, full access to AWS cloud. If AWS is providing 200 services, you can select any services, you can start working on it. Root user is a high level user. Root user is having full access to AWS services. Whenever you sign up for AWS account, when you're creating a new AWS account, isn't it? Day one, we have learned how to create a new AWS account. When you create a new AWS account, we have successfully created a new account. By default, we'll have a root account. All of us from day one, we are logging in with root account. By default, when you sign up for AWS, by default, you get a root account. Root account is a high level account. High is something like an administrator. He can do anything. Let's say AWS is providing 200 services. He can connect to any service, whichever you want. He can do it. He can experiment. There is no restriction. That's about root user. Okay. So there's one more type of user that's called as an IAM user. IAM user is restricted access. IAM user is providing not limitations to the AWS cloud. For example, let's say I'm running a business. My infrastructure is on AWS. I'm running an application. Let's say I'm running an application like Book My Show on AWS. I'm running an application on AWS. To manage the AWS infrastructure, I have recruited two resources. Okay. Let's say one resource is Ravi, the other one is something like Lata. We have created two resources. I have my applications running on AWS. To manage my AWS infrastructure, I have recruited two employees in my organization, Ravi and Lata. Now my plan is Ravi should take care of EC2 machines. My plan, I should give EC2 machines responsibility to Ravi. And my plan is Lata should take care of the information about the objects present in S3 buckets. Look at this. I have recruited two employees. My plan, Ravi should take care of EC2 service, and then Lata should take care of S3 service. So do you think I will provide my root user details to Ravi? This is a new employee, right? Do you think I will provide the root user login password to Ravi? If I provide root user login password to Ravi, Ravi can do anything. He can do with EC2, he can connect S3, he can connect to any service, whatever want. In fact, he can go to billing, he can check my bill, he can change my debit card, he can misuse my account also. So when when employee gets recruited in an organization, don't think that we will be provided root access details to him so that we can connect, and do we provide full access to Ravi? No. So we are learning AWS. Once you get the job in AWS, and when you get into organization and when you support the client, do you think you'll have root account details to you? Do you think you will be provided root account details so that you can log in and you can do anything? No. Once you get into AWS job as an AWS engineer or a support engineer, infrastructure support resource, we will never have root access credentials that are highly secured. You will never be given root user details. What will be given? You will be creating IAM user. IAM user is something like a child user. Okay, we all work with IAM users. Root user is nothing but the owner of the organization or owner of the account, owner of the client. He will have root user. Inside the root user, we'll have child users. How to create child users? How can we provide restricted access? In my case, I want Ravi to access EC2. I'll create a new user for Ravi with the name Ravi. And I'll provide only EC2 access to Ravi. Yes, you can do that. When Ravi logs into AWS, he will have only access to only one service, EC2. If Ravi tries to connect to S3 also, it's not possible. Restricted access. I have restricted Ravi so that he'll only work with EC2. In the same way, I want my plan is to restrict Lata to only one service called S3. If Lata tries to connect to EC2, it will not work. She cannot do that. Identity and access management is all about providing security to your AWS account with respect to number of users. Okay, so let's look at the theory. I have given you a basic understanding where exactly IAM is used. So let's get into the concepts of theory. What does theory says? And anyways, we'll get into practicals. You know that. So before that, theory. Identity and access management. What this theory says. Identity and access management service allows you to manage users, manage groups, and their level of access, not full access. and their level of access to AWS services. Identity and access management provides a centralized control of your AWS account. You can provide shared access to your AWS account. You can provide granular permissions to a lowest level. You can provide it. AWS also provides the users can log in with their LinkedIn or Facebook accounts also. That's called as identity federation feature. Using AWS, you can enable multi-factor authentication for higher security. When a user logs into AWS, even though you provide valid email address and valid password, an OTP will be delivered to his mobile number. So using that's one more layer of security. You can define rules such that the password should change for every 30 days. All this can be done by using identity and access management. In this identity and access management, you will be coming across the terms called user. We should be familiar with. By this identity and access management service, you should be familiar with the term called user. We should be familiar with the term called group. What do you mean by policies? What do you mean by policies? Why should we attach the policies? And we should also be comfortable with the concept of roles. So all these terminologies, we should be comfortable by the end of identity and access management. We'll discuss about the roles features. So this is a quick theory about identity and access management. It's something related to administration. Identity and access management is related to administration. Identity and access management, IAM, is a service that helps you to securely control access to AWS resources. Securely control access to AWS resources. These are AWS resources. Ravi and Lata, these are the resources who are managing my AWS infrastructure. So I can control this Ravi and Lata, what Ravi should log in, what services should Ravi should have access, what services Lata should have access. This kind of control, you can do that. You use IAM to control who is authorized to use service resources. Resources are nothing but services. When you create a first AWS account, we all have signed up for AWS account, isn't it? By default, you'll have complete access to all the services. This identity is called as AWS root user. A user which is having all the full services access is called as a root user. When you create a new AWS account, by default, you'll have a root. That's a root user. AWS provides you a root user. Every company, no matter how big it is, you know how much Netflix pay for AWS? You know how much Netflix is a client. We all know Netflix, right? Netflix is an OTT platform and they have their customers all over the world. Do you know how much Netflix will pay to AWS? Netflix pays. How much Netflix will pay to AWS? Based on the Netflix utilization, it is estimated that Netflix will spend around $9.6 million per month. This is the bill Netflix will pay to AWS. 9.6 millions. So no matter the big clients, the small clients, no matter how big the client is, every client will have only one AWS, one root account. That's what you need to understand. Every company will have only one AWS root account. The owner of the account, in other words, the root account, can create a new users. Okay, so I have a root account credentials. I can create new users. And we can give limited permissions, privileges to the new users. Limited privileges are nothing but limited permissions, not full permissions. For example, look at this example. User A, I have recruited. I want to give EC to full access. User B, I have recruited to manage my infrastructure. I want to give S3 full access. I have recruited one more resource, user C. He should have EC2. In EC2 also, there are two levels, full access and read-only access. In EC2, service is the same EC2. In two levels, we have full access and read-only access. Full access is nothing but EC2 full access is nothing but he can create new EC2 machines. He can terminate the EC2 machines. Whatever you want, he can do it. Read-only is nothing but he cannot create it or he cannot terminate it. He can only connect and manage the EC2 machine. That's called read-only access. Like this, we will be provided restricted permissions to the users so that they will connect and they will have limited access to the AWS cloud. So using IAM, we can create users. We'll see practically how to create user. How can we restrict one user to only one specific service or two services? We can do that. We know how we learn. We'll see practically how can we create users. there's a concept called groups. Why should we create the groups and how should we create the groups? How can we assign permissions to users and group? All this we will be looking at practically. Okay. So by default, we are all administrators. Right from day one, we are all connecting we are all connecting as a root user. Now you know what is the importance of root user. Root user is nothing but full access. Okay, so how can we create IAM users? IAM users are nothing but the child users. Okay, so if you want to create IAM users, so we have under AWS we have security, identity, and compliance. Under that we have IAM, stands for identity and access management. Let's log out. Okay, so under services, there is IAM service, security, identity, and compliance. Security, identity, and compliance, and here we have a service called IAM. Stands for identity and access management. Right now you can see the default statistics, 0 users. Okay, so these are the default statistics. Don't worry about this. So let's get into the practicals of identity and access management. Before getting into practicals of identity and access management, any questions? Karthik Krishna Prasad. Yes, Karthik, clear about the importance of identity and access management?
Yes, I mean, I've been trying to say
okay,
some question as well. Thanks for your session. Right?
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you very much.
It's something like a count by a crorepati. Once we get a dial in, I think we can get clear.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So,
okay, I have a question, Sunil.
Yep.
For example, root admin is the main privilege. What you told me.
Don't say root admin. Don't say root admin. Say it as root user.
Root user, right? Correct.
That's it. Root user, IAM user. Only 2 terms. Okay, let's use only 2 terms. Okay.
And for example,
root user is by default full access, Karthik. Okay.
Right.
So if AWS is providing 200 services, root user can log in and select any service and start working with services. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
My particular question is, for example, you have an infrastructure owned from AWS, okay, but there are a lot of third-party infrastructure is completely owned from AWS right now. Okay.
Okay. I don't understand. What do you mean infrastructure owned from AWS? What does it mean?
Infrastructure as a service, S3 and those things are right now owned from AWS. Okay. Consider our companies just got a deal with AWS for infrastructure as a service.
Okay.
But ID and access management, they wanted to own with the third party. So in that scenario, whether AWS allows the third party to interfere on their infrastructure?
Yes, it will allow. Okay. So there are several APIs AWS provides to the organizations in case they want to tie up with AWS with respect to third-party services. Okay.
Okay.
That's a different approach altogether.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
But it is allowed. It is allowed, Karthik. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. You know AWS, Karthik, is the first time you're learning?
No, I've been working as a audit and compliance focal for one of the organization, but AWS I don't had any exposure. I'm learning from your class.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Nice. Thank
you, Karthik. Muhammad Ali Khan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ali Khan. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes.
This thing, is there any limitation is there for creating the users?
No, unlimited users. Okay. You can create 100 IAM users. You can create 1,000 users also. There's no restriction.
Okay. Is there any like root user giving privileges to the IMA users?
Yeah. Let's say, for example, Ali, you are the owner of the organization. Okay, you are very busy. When a new recruitment round, when a new employee recruits, you want to give him easy to access. But as you are busy, okay, there's something special policy called administrator access. If IAM user, if you provide special policy called administrator access, he can also create child users also. That's not a problem. Okay. Okay, Ali.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anything more?
Nothing. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
For great sessions. What you have provided.
Thank you, Ali. Arpit Chaturvedi.
Hi Sunil, good morning.
Good morning, Arpit. How are you doing? And you're from which city?
Yeah, I'm very well. And yes, I'm from Kota, Rajasthan, and
Okay.
I've been working as an AWS engineer.
Oh God, then you already know all this.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But yes, I have a question here because like as a junior
Now, before that,
AWS
how many
engineer,
years of experience you are having in AWS?
like 1.5 years,
One and a
and
half year
yes,
of experience.
yes,
On
we
what
don't get.
services you have mostly worked on?
I worked on all the services that you are going to focus
EC2,
on.
S3,
East to S3,
IA
Route
identity,
53,
access
VPC,
management, VPC, Route
SNS.
53,
Yes,
email
yes.
service, CloudWatch, CloudTrail.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So, but yes, as a junior AWS engineer
Mhm.
and as in a small startup, I didn't work on the enterprise kind of infrastructure, like because so I am facing like when the developer connects to the like the CLI part. Okay, there
Mhm.
is issue because I didn't see anyone who is teaching like about the CLI part because it is very much I think a
After this,
critical
we'll
function.
next start next in the IAM. We have a CLI exposure now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, okay. And one question is that in the IAM user, when we create it, and if you want to create an IAM user for a particular client in the same AWS account,
Mhm.
then can we separate the billing cost?
No, billing is always at the root level, not at IAM user. Okay.
Okay, okay. And
Billing will always billing at always root level. Okay.
mhm.
Billing is
Okay,
not
and
specific to user.
okay,
Okay.
fine, fine. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Arpit. So anything anything new you are learning out of this classes service because you already have 1.5 year of experience. So did you happen to learn something new, anything from last 10 days?
Yes,
Already
I'm.
all this you already
Hmm,
know it. I think so.
yes, I already know it. But yes, I'm just revising all the things because not every time like I have to work on because most of the things are done by the seniors and we don't get much access to
Mhm.
every. But yes,
Okay.
I worked
So
previously.
you have exposure towards VPC.
Yes, definitely.
So you know how to create your own VPC and subnet and how to define the subnet mask. Huh?
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah,
And then you
yes.
also are aware of
Mhm.
how to create Bastion server and then NAT gateway, internet gateway, route tables. All these are familiar. Arpit, did you get hands-on to do that?
Yes, yes, I have done hands-on on that.
Oh
Yes,
wow, very good, good exposure.
yes. Yes, yes, but yes, I'm like looking forward for the like DevOps part. I'm learning, like for the Jenkins part as well.
Okay.
So yes, in that I'm getting a bit confused in the
Mhm.
DevOps part. Yeah, because it's very confusing, and in that I think like there is some coding and scripting part.
Yep. Yep.
So where I lack. So that's
Okay.
why.
Okay. Arpit. Okay. All the
Yeah,
best.
if you can please if you are like this free course if there is any CLI part so yes, if you could focus only on the CLI part for like a particular set of
Let's see. We'll
time.
see. We'll start CLA after IAM. Okay.
Yes,
In the
sir.
IAM service.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we had an understanding now about root user and IAM user. So let's jump into practicals. So let's experience how to create a. This is the first time we are learning how to create an IAM user. IAM user is something like a child user. Let's experience it. Okay. Okay. So right now I have logged in as a root account. You already know that. So my plan is to create two new users. Ravi. Okay. As usual, let's name it as Lata. The password what I want to give is Ravi at the rate 123. This is the username, and the password what I want to give is Lata at the rate 123. The most important thing, Ravi should have access to only EC2 service. That's what important. I want Ravi to access only one service called as EC2. I want Lata to access only one service, that is S3. How do you create users? Next, how do you restrict user to specific one service only? All this can be done by using identity and access management. Let's first learn how can we create new users. We already have logged into identity and access management dashboard. And right now you can see the number of users is 0. So go to users. Okay. Right now there are 0 users. You can see here, no resources to display, no IAM users. Let's go ahead and create a new user. As you know, the values are ready. I want to create a new user Ravi, and the password is Ravi at the rate 123. Add user. Username Ravi. AWS access type. This is important. AWS access type. In how many ways you can connect it to AWS account? In the interview, they may ask you, in how many ways you can connect it to AWS account and manage the services like EC2, in how many ways you can create EC2 machines, and how many ways you can create S3 buckets and all those. This question looks to be typical. Frankly speaking, we know only one way of connecting to AWS. You know only one way of connecting to AWS. How are you connecting to AWS cloud? You're connecting using the browser. You're opening Google Chrome or Mozilla. You are using the URL aws.amazon.com, and you are entering your email address and you're entering your login password. This is how you're connecting to AWS cloud. Agree? This is the way you're connecting to AWS account using the browser. This way of connecting to AWS account is called as console access. Console access. People also call it as graphical user interface. This way of connecting to AWS. How are we connecting to AWS? We are connecting to AWS by using the browser, by using the URL aws.amazon.com. You use login with email address and password. You're connecting. The moment you are connecting, the landing page is called as AWS Management Console. You know that. This way of connecting to AWS is called as console access. There's one more way to connect to AWS account. Yes, my dear friends, there's one more approach. There's one more way you can connect to AWS account. There's one more way to create EC2 machines. There's one more way to create S3 buckets. There's a different approach. You can also connect to AWS account. You can also create S3 buckets. You can also create the EC2 machines using command line. Yes, you don't need browser to connect to AWS account. Right now, we know only one way of connecting to AWS account using the console access, that is using the browser. There's one more way without using the browser. There's one more way using the command line. Command line is nothing but the command prompt. You know that. From the command prompt, you can connect to AWS account. You can create S3 buckets and all those. Yes, you can do that. This approach of connecting to AWS account using the command line is called as CLI, command line interface. Now in the interview, if anybody asks you in how many ways you can connect to AWS account and we can manage the services or create the infrastructure, say it as 2 ways from now. In 2 ways, we can connect to AWS account and create the infrastructure or manage the infrastructure in 2 ways. One is console access, the other one is command line interface. Right now, from day one, we are connecting to AWS using the console access. Now you know that. Obviously, in the tomorrow session, in the identity and access management service itself, I'll also show you how can we connect to AWS account from the CLI. We'll experiencing it soon. Okay, we'll see it soon, CLI. Okay, now the point is you're creating a Ravi user, right? How should Ravi connect? How should Ravi connect to AWS account? Do you want Ravi to connect from the console access? Or do you want Ravi to connect to the new user? Ravi, should he connect from the console access? Or do you think the Ravi should connect using the command line? That you have to mention it. So when you're creating a user, you can see access type, CLI. The other one is console access. I want Ravi to connect to AWS account. I want him to connect in both the ways. I want my Ravi to connect using the command line interface. I want my Ravi to connect using the console access. Whichever he feels comfortable, he'll do that. So I'm providing both options. Password. We already know, we have already decided that this is the password for the Ravi user. I'm creating a user Ravi. The password is Ravi123, and next is permissions. This is important. What's my plan? My plan is Ravi should have only access to one service, EC2. So go to permissions. Attach policies directly. Can you see here? Attach policy. Policies are nothing but permissions. Whenever you come across a term called policy, understand that permissions. Attach policies. What permission you want to attach? What policy you want to attach? Can you see EC2? Full Amazon EC2 full access is the policy which I am attaching to this particular user. Amazon EC2 full access. I'll take a note of the policy. What is the policy I'm attaching? The policy I'm attaching is Amazon EC2 full access. Okay. Next. Tax. I don't want to provide any tax. Review the details. We are creating a new user, Ravi. He should have both the access and the policy. Which policy did I attach it? Sorry, I think I have not attached it. I need to select this checkbox. I easy to full access. Next, review. Yes, you can see I have attached the policy and then create user. We have created an IAM user. Close. You have successfully created an IAM user. Ravi is the user which you have created. You can see when you click on Ravi, you can also see you can also see under permissions, you can see there's easy to full access. I think this is not required IAM. Okay, it will write this. Only one policy that is easy to full access. Okay, that's it. Let's quickly do that. Let's create one more user, Lata. Let's create one more user, Lata. Add users. Lata, she should be able to log into AWS using the command line interface. She should also be able to log it using the console access. Password, we already have know the password. Lata 123. I think user should change the password. User should not change the password, not required. Require reset. Do you think user to change the password? Not required. Click on next. What permission you want to attach it to this particular user? I want Lata to access S3 service. So there's a policy called S3 full access. There's a policy called Amazon S3 full access. Next. Review. Review the details. This is the Lata I'm using, and this is the policy which S3 full access is the policy we are assigning to Lata. Create user. Like this. Close. Done. So like this, we have now seen how can we create a, you know now how to create a child users. Ravi and Lata are the child users. Okay. So how many child users? Child users are nothing but IAM users, to be more simple. So we have created 2 users and we also have attached policies. Okay. Ravi is 1 user. Lata is 1 user. Fine. Okay. 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 So let's go. We are done with identity and access management. So let's close this. Fine. So like this, you can create a child users. Those are child users are called as IAM users, and you can provide limited permissions to that particular users. Okay. Now, root account, very important. Root account will have a unique number that is called as an account ID. Root account will have a unique number that is called as account ID. What is the account ID of the root account? You can see here when you click, when you log in, you can see your name in the left side top, right side top, isn't it? Here, can you see the account ID? This is the account. Every root account will have a unique number that is called as an account ID taken out of account ID. Ravi and Lata are the child users under this account. Agree? Ravi and Lata are the child users under this account. Agree or not? Yes. Now, how Ravi can log in? How Lata can log in? Let's experience it. Let's log out from the root user. Let's log out from the root user. Let's start from the scratch. The URL is aws.amazon.com. Sign into the console. I want to log in not using a root user. I want to log in using an IAM user. The moment you select an IAM user, the option changes. But if it is root user, it is asking email address. If it is IAM user, it will ask first account ID. These users belongs to which account ID? This particular account ID. So you need to provide and furnish the account ID first. Next. Under this account, provide the IAM user and password. For example, I want to log in with Lata. Okay, I provide the username as Lata. The password for Lata is Lata123. Lata@123. Lata is having what access? I hope you remember. S3 full access is a policy. So let's log in. This is the first time we are logging in as an IAM user. This is the first time we are experiencing how exactly IAM user logs in. Till now, till date, we are all every day logging in as a root user. This is the first time we are logging in as an IAM user. Sign in. Yes. Here, the user interface is pretty much same, but here you can notice Lata at the account ID, you'll get it. The moment you're getting some name at the rate some account ID, they understand that this is a IAM user dashboard. Lata is having what permission? Only one policy, that is S3 full access. So when you go to services, okay, she can see list of all the services, but she is authorized to manage only with one service called as S3. So successfully, you can see the buckets are getting created. She can create the bucket. Okay, she can create the bucket, whatever, because she's allowed to manage with S3 service. But if Lata tries to connect to EC2, if Lata tries to connect to EC2, an unhandled error. Are you understanding? An unhandled error. You are not authorized to perform this action. Are you understanding? You are not authorized to perform this operation. When she tries to launch instances also, she'll end up with getting an error. No doubt on that. She will end up getting an error. You are not authorized to select an AMI. You cannot do anything. You are not authorized. Lata is not authorized. If she select any other service, she get an error. Whereas when she select S3, she will not get an error because she is authorized to deal with only S3 service. Like this, so as Lata is having S3 access, she can manage S3 buckets. When she tries to connect to EC2, as you are experiencing, she's getting an error. Like this, you can restrict the users. Okay, you can restrict the users to specific service. This is possible by using identity and access management. Let's experience one more user. We already have created one more Ravi user, I think so, isn't it? For Ravi user, we have provided a full access, easy to access. First, you need to provide the account ID. I think Ravi should change the password because I have not selected that option. Ravi at rate 123. Okay, for the first time, for Ravi, I have not changed the option. Ravi should change the password for the first time. Don't worry about this. Does not policy. Okay, so as per I think policy, it should be minimum one special character should also be there. So let's give the password as India _3 hash. Old password is new password is this one. Okay. Either user is not authorized to change the password. I have removed the policy, right? So that's the reason. So don't worry about this. You can fix that later. Because I have removed one policy, change user policy. So that's the reason I'm getting this error. So don't worry. I hope you understood how exactly identity and access management helps the clients to provide their limited permissions to the AWS account. Okay. Sign in as a root. You can sign in as a root user. Yes. Identity and access management. So like this, you have now experienced how exactly we can create a new users and new groups. Let's say you don't want a user. I don't want Ravi user. Go to users. Select Ravi user. Let's say you don't want this. We have an option to delete the users. Whenever, let's say, a resource will leave the organization, so we don't need access to that particular user, isn't it? So we have removed the user. Like this, we can create users. So let's experience one more time, because easy to experience, we have not done it. I'm creating a user with the name John. He should have both the access, custom password, John@123, and this was, I have missed it. User must change the password, not required. And for John, I provide easy to fill access. So this is the John user I'm creating. Okay, so now let's log in with the John user to just experience the EC2 service. I am user. First, you need to provide the furnisher account ID under which the John belongs. Yes, John logged in. So you can see in the top side, you can see the right side, John@account ID. So John is authorized to deal with EC2. So you're getting instances also, not a problem. You're not getting an error. Whereas Lata logged in, she's unable to see the instances also. Isn't it? Here you're not getting an error. Happily John can create new instances, not a problem, because he's having EC2 access. So there's no issue at all. Whereas if John tries to connect to S3, you do not have permissions to list the buckets. Okay, so like this, you can restrict the users using identity and access management. I hope I'm very clear in explaining you how to create a user. Okay, yes. So let's discuss about groups. I also want to discuss about groups. Pretty simple, pretty easy concept. I won't delete all the, not S3. Okay, let's log in with root account. Zahir Abbas, how are you doing? Fine. Samir Inamdar, good morning. Your question, please.
Hello.
Hi, Samir.
Yeah, hi, Sunil. It's a long time. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you, Samir. Thank you.
No, it has been, that the master movie of Vijay, and that the same thing, I visualize you.
Okay. Okay. So how is the learning experience?
Yes, very fabulous. And to be honest, I have around for 20 years of experience into the head infrastructure. Okay. And I have been a lot of infrastructure from the VMs, from the.
So you can easily relate your on-premises infrastructure activities to AWS cloud activities, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, some of the we are giving the work to the website development and all. And then the last lecture I seen that we can create the URLs and in the AWS
static website hosting,
static websites. That internal, I mean, that's much of the work will this thing, I mean, okay. And I'm planning to going for the
certification,
one-to-one certificate also for this thing actually. And for my team as well, I mean, I'm planning to host the session with you, okay. That I will discuss with you or your support team as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a great experience actually.
Thank you, Samir.
So, and
thank
you so much.
We still have many more concepts. So VPC, virtual private cloud, is more important, Samir. How can you provide security to your client? Okay. So interesting concepts are coming soon. Okay.
Yeah. So I just have a few questions. I mean, are you also going with some data analytics kind of the batch as well? Are you into that training?
I am only limiting myself with associate level training. I hope you know this is something like a beginner to medium level training. Okay. So I do not provide any specialized training related to certificate security or something like that. Okay.
Okay. And next thing, I mean, I'm just kind of a billing part actually. So I have started I created the account. Okay. So he's asked me the debit card and all these things. So that is a mandatory. I have
mandatory.
to give.
You have to give with the debit card mandatory.
It's a mandatory actually.
And debit card should be enabled for international transactions. Okay. Please make sure that.
Okay? Yeah.
Otherwise, it will not accept.
So it has been, I mean, if I created the any kind of the practice kind of the EC2 machines and all, so it start immediately the billing, or because I don't know anything about it. So
immediately you will not get the bill specific to EC2 service. You can use 300 hours per month free. Okay.
300 hours per month free.
You can create EC2 machines for free. Okay. So if you cross 300 hours, you get the bill. And some participants, what they do by mistake, they forget to dominate the instances. The instances will be running in the background for 3-4 days, and again at the end they finally surprised that they'll get a bill. Okay. In case if you get a bill, it will not be deducted automatically. You have to manually pay it. Okay. You will never get a chance. AWS will not deduct from your debit card automatically. You have to manually pay the bill. If you don't manually pay the bill, they will wait for 20 days or 25 days and then suspend your AWS account. So, but your account will not be deducted automatically. That you should be sure. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sunil. Thank you, Sunil, and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any technical questions? Clear about identity and access management and our
absolutely.
This is what happens, isn't it, Samir, in the on-premises also, isn't it? When you recruit a team of infrastructure resources, obviously, isn't it? So same thing happening seamlessly on cloud.
Okay. Same thing on the servers and your firewalls and your routers and everything. Okay. So this has been a great challenge and it's a good way.
Thank you, Samir, and you'll enjoy how exactly in the coming sessions also. Okay. That's for sure.
Sure. The same year. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. So let's have a quick discussion. I want to discuss about one more topic called groups. Identity and under security, identity and compliance, we have identity and access management, where you can see the list of users which we have created. So you can see clearly in the dashboard users as two. So I don't want these users. I want to delete the users. So go to users dashboard. Let's say if you don't want it, you can delete the users. Okay. Like this, you can create and you can delete the users. Let's move on to the concept of groups. Very big companies will recruit resources to manage the infrastructure. Let's say 10 resources are responsible. 10 resources are responsible for EC2 service. Okay, and they have recruited 5 resources for managing the S3 service. So there will be teams, the EC2 team and S3 team. So in such cases, it's always good practice to create a group. Okay, what happens is groups will make the concept of providing permissions very easily. So first, let's create a group. You eventually understand the importance of group. So here you have user groups. User groups are nothing but groups. Right now there are 0 groups. You can go ahead and create a group. Meaningful name. By looking at a group name, you'll understand what exactly this group can do. So I'm writing it as EC2 group. And the group name is EC2 group. I'm attaching policies to group. I'm attaching policy. Last time I have attached policy to user. Now I'm not attaching policy to the user. I'm attaching policy to group. What policy I'm attaching? Obviously, I'm attaching EC2 full access. Amazon EC2 full access is the policy which I'm attaching to create a group. That's it. Successfully created. What group I have created? EC2 group. And this group is having what policy? You can clearly see that the group is already having one policy. And the permissions tab, you can clearly obviously see that that particular group is Amazon full access. Similarly, I will create one more group. I'll name it as S3 group. And obviously I attach S3 full access. Create group. Done. So two groups are created. Now when an employee gets recruited, let's say the name of the employee something like Kiran, and he gets recruited, and I want to give the password as Kiran @123, and I want him to be in the EC2 team. So what I'll do, instead of attaching policy to the user, I'll add him to the group. Are you understanding? When you add the user to the group, automatically that user will acquire the policies from the group. We already have attached policies to the group, isn't it? So I go to EC2 group. Okay, and then I can add users inside the group. Okay, so first let's create a user. Add user. Let's say new resource joining our organization, and my plan is to add him to the EC2 team. Kiran, I want him both the access. Kiran @123. I don't want him to change the password. Click on next. Last time what I have done, I have added policies directly. Now I will not add policies directly. I'll add user to the group. Which group there? You can see both the groups. I'm adding to EC2 group. I'm not adding policies. I'm adding to group. This group is already having policies. So the user will have those policies acquiring from the group. Next. Review. Create. So I have created a user. The username is Kiran. The username is Kiran. You can also see the Kiran belongs to which particular group. When you click on Kiran, you can also see what policies the Kiran is having. Under permissions, you can see the Kiran is having EC2 policies. Okay, EC2 policy, and I have not attached a policy directly to the Kiran. It got acquired from the group. Clear? So like this, when you recruit an organization, so it's in the enterprise level, there will be EC2 there will be IAM groups. Employees will be added to the group, and employees will be removed from the group. We can change the user from one group to other. You can play around and manage. And how exactly, I hope you're understanding, IAM service is very, very important. And you now came to know that when you log in, when you get recruited for a specific client, you will not be given root user details. You know that you will be given IAM user, and you will be having restricted access to AWS account. All this knowledge, I hope you have acquired it from today's session. Okay, so few more points we need to discuss. I think now what's our agenda? Did we meet our agenda? Yes, you now know the importance of identity and access management. You know the difference between root user and IAM user. Root user is nothing but full access. IAM user is nothing but limited access. You know how to create users, how to attach policies to the users, how to create group, how to attach policies to the group, how to add users to the group. You are done perfectly as per the today's agenda. Okay, what's our tomorrow's agenda? Tomorrow's agenda, we have to be comfortable with my plan is to show you concept of command line interface, CLI. Okay, so we'll be discussing in two ways, as I told you, in two ways you can connect to AWS cloud. One is a graphical user interface, the other one is CLI. So we'll be experiencing the CLI part tomorrow, and then there's something called roles in IAM. What is roles? What is the importance of roles? We'll be seeing it soon. Before ending, as usual, let's have quick interaction. Maruti Jalla.
Hi, Sunil. Good morning. I spoke to you last week, I think.
Okay.
It was really good that you're doing this and you're helping a lot of people.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
And my question is, I'm calling from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
So yes.
Okay.
It's one of my friends and a brother told that this is a good session, so I joined this group.
So do you agree with your friends, brother?
Yes, totally. I totally agree with that.
Okay.
So my question is, so what is the difference between the access control list and this one then? Because there you're limiting the access as well. Yeah.
Bucket policy. Am I right?
Oh yeah, the bucket policy.
Your question is difference between access control list and bucket policy.
Yes, and in today's as well with the identity access management.
Okay, let's complete this first question and then we go to next question. Okay.
Yes.
The main primary difference in access control list. In access control list, you can provide access in 2 levels.
Yes.
Okay. One is at bucket level.
Yeah. One is at the object level.
Yes. When you provide access to bucket level, if there are 10 objects in the bucket, all the objects will get it. Okay. You can provide access, Marthi, isn't it? That is at bucket level. Obviously, as you have mentioned, the other one is object level. You don't want to give access to complete bucket. Let's say you want to provide access to one specific object in the bucket. That you can do that object level. That's a advantage you can get it with respect to access control list. As in bucket policy, there's no concept of object level. Everything is at a bucket level only. And bucket policy, you cannot. It's not a. You have to write a JSON code. Okay. If you want to provide bucket policies to specific user. Okay. That's it.
Right. Cool.
Clear, Marthi?
Yeah, that's good.
Next question.
See, the next question is because with the identity access management as well, so we're limiting the access as well.
You're right.
So you can do that by using the identity access management. So why do you need the ACL?
ACL is only specific to S3 service.
Oh, okay.
This ACL and bucket policy is only for S3. Okay. These are the features of S3 only, isn't it? Whereas bucket using identity and access management, you can restrict your user to only one service called VPC. The 200 services, right, Marthi? We can restrict one user to any other service, whatever you want. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Clear. Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you very much. One more final call. Zaman Atik.
Hi, Sunil. I have a question on group policy and user policy. So if a user, I give him permission to edit group and...
No. If a user?
If I give the permission, a user is getting permission on like S3 and his group policy is set to only for other one, the
EC2.
EC2, yeah. So which one he will get?
He will get both. He will get both. There are cases user will have access to multiple services. As user has directly got a policy S3 full access, he will have access to S3 service, and user belongs to a specific group, and that group is having EC2 full access. So finally, user A can manage with both the services, S3 service as well as EC2 service. Okay.
Okay. So in short, which one is gonna get priority? That is, if I assign up a user on both group and I restrict the user for a certain service, what will happen?
Can you make your question more clear? Let's say, for example, group 1 is having
like Sam.
Zaman.
Yeah,
group one.
Zaman?
Group 1 is having EC2 full access. Okay.
I have
and
permission.
Group 2 is having S3 full access.
Yes.
Now tell me.
But from the user access, I'm restricting that user to getting only S3 on read-only permission.
There are 2 groups. One group is EC2 full access. One group is S3 full access.
Group, right?
Now,
can be on both group, right?
Okay. Now you have. Now what you want your user to give? What restriction you want user A to have?
Okay. So Zaman is a member of group A, group 1, and group 2.
Let's say think from it. Tell me from a user point of view. Do you want user to have S3 access? User A. Let's say, for example, Zaman. You want Zaman to access what service?
That means my question is not about accessing any specific service. My question is, which one is getting priority? It's group policy?
There is no priority. There is no priority in the policies. Okay. Users will have, whether he has acquired directly or whether he has acquired from the group, there is no concept of priority. He will have finally access to all the policies which he has derived from. Okay.
Okay.
Here,
okay.
I hope I have answered you. There's no concept of priority. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Liam. And by the way, it's nice, nice learning we're having, and thank you so much for that.
You're also from which place?
I'm from US, Texas.
Okay, it's odd time for you.
It's 11:30, 11:44. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, Zaman. Thank you. Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks.
Thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed today's session. See you tomorrow, where we'll experience the concept of command line interface, and then we'll also experience the concept of a term called roles. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice time. Bye, everybody.